You eat every day, 3 meals, maybe some snacks, maybe an entire sleeve of crackers at midnight, and you probably assume that's enough, that your body is getting what it needs. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Most people in the modern world are deficient in at least one essential nutrient, and many are deficient in several. Not because they're starving, because the foods we eat have changed, the soil has changed, and the way we live has changed, and your body is quietly paying the price. So today we're going through every major nutrient you're probably not getting enough of, what happens when you're low, and how to fix it before things get worse. We already know vitamin D is made when sunlight hits your skin, and we already know most people don't get enough of it, but the scale of the problem is staggering. An estimated 1 billion people worldwide are deficient in vitamin D. 1 billion. In the United States alone, about 42% of adults are low, and in northern climates during winter, that number gets even worse. The reason is simple. We live indoors now. We work under fluorescent lights, commute in cars, and spend our free time staring at screens. When we do go outside, we're covered in sunscreen, which blocks the UV rays your skin needs to produce vitamin D. We solved the skin cancer problem and accidentally created a vitamin D crisis. Without enough of it, your bones weaken, your immune system suffers, your mood drops, and your risk of chronic illness goes up. Studies have linked low vitamin D to depression, fatigue, frequent illness, and even higher rates of certain cancers. The fix is straightforward. Get outside for 15 to 20 minutes a day with some skin exposed. Eat fatty fish, eggs, and fortified foods, or take a supplement, especially in the winter months. Most experts suggest somewhere between 1,000 and 4,000 IU daily, though your doctor can test your levels and tell you exactly what you need. If there's one nutrient that doesn't get the attention it deserves, it's magnesium. It's involved in over 300 biochemical reactions in your body: muscle function, nerve signaling, blood pressure regulation, blood sugar control, protein synthesis. It does everything, and roughly half of all Americans aren't getting enough of it. The reason traces back to modern agriculture. Decades of intensive farming have stripped magnesium from the soil. The vegetables your grandparents ate contained significantly more magnesium than the same vegetables today. On top of that, processed foods, which now dominate most diets, are almost completely devoid of it. You can eat 3,000 calories a day and still be magnesium deficient. That's the paradox of modern nutrition. Low magnesium shows up in ways most people never connect to a nutrient deficiency. Muscle cramps, especially at night, trouble sleeping, anxiety, headaches, heart palpitations, fatigue. If you've experienced any of those and blamed stress or aging, magnesium might be the actual culprit. You'll find it in dark leafy greens, nuts, seeds, dark chocolate, and avocados. Supplements work too, but the type matters. Magnesium glycinate is best absorbed and least likely to upset your stomach. Magnesium oxide, the cheapest and most common form, is poorly absorbed and mostly just acts as a laxative. So read the label. Iron is the reason your blood can carry oxygen. Without it, your red blood cells can't do their job, and your entire body starts suffocating from the inside. Iron deficiency is the most common nutritional deficiency in the world, affecting an estimated 2 billion people. And it doesn't just hit people in developing countries. It's widespread in the West, especially among women, vegetarians, and anyone who donates blood regularly. The symptoms creep up slowly: fatigue that sleep doesn't fix, pale skin, shortness of breath doing things that used to be easy, cold hands and feet, brain fog, brittle nails. Some people develop a strange craving for ice or dirt, a condition called pica, which is your body's desperate signal that something is wrong. Here's the tricky part. There are two types of dietary iron: heme iron from animal products, which your body absorbs efficiently, and non-heme iron from plants, which it doesn't. So while spinach technically contains iron, you'd have to eat an absurd amount to match what you'd get from a serving of red meat. That's why vegetarians and vegans need to pay extra attention. Pairing plant-based iron with vitamin C dramatically improves absorption, so squeezing lemon on your lentils is actually a scientifically sound strategy, not just a taste preference. Your brain is roughly 60% fat, and a significant chunk of that fat should be omega-3 fatty acids, specifically DHA and EPA. These fats are critical for brain function, heart health, reducing inflammation, and maintaining healthy cell membranes throughout your body. And most people are getting nowhere near enough. The modern diet is drowning in omega-6 fatty acids from vegetable oils, processed foods, and grain-fed meat. The ideal ratio of omega-6 to omega-3 is somewhere around 2 to 1. The average Western diet sits closer to 15 to 1. Some estimates go as high as 25 to 1. That imbalance drives chronic inflammation, which is linked to heart disease, diabetes, autoimmune conditions, and depression. The fix is fatty fish. Salmon, mackerel, sardines, and anchovies are the best sources. 2 to 3 servings a week covers most people. If you don't eat fish, algae-based supplements provide DHA directly, which is what your brain actually needs. Fish oil supplements work too, but quality varies wildly, and many are already oxidized by the time you swallow them. If your fish oil capsule smells rancid when you break it open, it's doing more harm than good. Potassium is the nutrient nobody talks about, but everybody needs. It regulates fluid balance, nerve signals, and muscle contractions, including the most important muscle in your body, your heart. And almost nobody gets enough. Less than 2% of Americans meet the recommended daily intake. That's not a typo. less than 2%. The reason is we don't eat enough fruits and vegetables. Potassium is abundant in bananas, but also in potatoes, sweet potatoes, spinach, beans, and avocados. The problem is that these foods have been pushed aside by processed alternatives that are high in sodium and low in potassium. That imbalance is a major driver of high blood pressure, which is a major driver of heart attacks and strokes. Here's the irony. We spend enormous energy telling people to eat less sodium, and that's not wrong. But increasing potassium would do just as much, if not more, for blood pressure than cutting salt. The two minerals work together like a seesaw. When potassium goes up, blood pressure comes down. But nobody makes headlines telling people to eat more sweet potatoes. It's not as dramatic as warning them about salt. Fiber is the nutrient that's boring until you realize what it actually does. It feeds the trillions of bacteria in your gut, which in turn regulate your immune system, your mood, your weight, and your digestion. It slows the absorption of sugar, preventing blood sugar spikes. It keeps you full longer. It reduces cholesterol, and it literally keeps things moving through your digestive tract. The recommended intake is about 25 to 30 grams per day. The average American gets about 15, half of what they should, and it's been declining for decades as processed foods have replaced whole grains, fruits, and vegetables. Low-fiber diets are linked to higher rates of heart disease, diabetes, colon cancer, and obesity. Your gut bacteria are essentially starving, and when they don't have fiber to eat, they start eating the mucus lining of your intestinal wall. That's not a metaphor. Studies in mice have shown that fiber-deprived gut bacteria literally consume the protective barrier of the gut, leading to inflammation and increased susceptibility to infection. The fix isn't a fiber supplement, it's actual food. Beans, lentils, oats, berries, broccoli, whole grains, nuts, and seeds. Variety matters because different fibers feed different bacteria. Your gut microbiome needs diversity, not just volume. B12 is the vitamin your nervous system depends on to function. Without it, nerve cells deteriorate, cognitive function declines, and your red blood cells can't form properly. And because it's found almost exclusively in animal products, anyone who eats a plant-based diet is at risk. But it's not just vegans. B12 absorption decreases with age because your stomach produces less of the acid needed to extract it from food. By age 60, a significant percentage of people aren't absorbing enough B12, even if their diet contains it. Certain medications, particularly antacids and the diabetes drug metformin, also interfere with absorption. The symptoms of B12 deficiency are often mistaken for normal aging. Fatigue, memory problems, numbness in the hands and feet, difficulty concentrating, mood changes. By the time these symptoms show up, the deficiency may have been building for years. The damage to nerves can become permanent if it goes untreated long enough. B12 is one nutrient where supplementation isn't just helpful, it's essential for anyone in a high-risk group. The sublingual form that dissolves under your tongue tends to absorb better than regular pills, especially for older adults with reduced stomach acid. Zinc doesn't get headlines, but it quietly supports your immune system, wound healing, taste and smell, hormone production, and DNA synthesis. It's involved in the function of over 300 enzymes, and mild deficiency is surprisingly common, especially in older adults, vegetarians, and people with digestive conditions. The challenge with zinc is that your body doesn't store it. You need a consistent daily intake, and the best sources are oysters, red meat, poultry, and beans. Plant-based sources contain zinc, but they also contain phytates, which bind to zinc and reduce absorption. So the number on the nutrition label doesn't tell the whole story. Low zinc often shows up as frequent colds, slow wound healing, loss of appetite, and dull sense of taste or smell. During the pandemic, zinc got a moment in the spotlight as a potential immune booster, but the truth is simpler. If you're deficient, fixing that deficiency helps your immune system work normally. It doesn't give you superpowers, it just stops you from fighting with one hand tied behind your back. Iodine is the nutrient that built your thyroid hormones. Without it, your thyroid can't produce T3 and T4, the hormones that control your metabolism, energy, and body temperature. Iodine deficiency was once so common that it caused visible goiters, enlarged thyroid glands bulging from people's necks. In the 1920s, the solution was simple: add iodine to table salt. Iodized salt virtually eliminated goiters in developed countries overnight. But here's the twist: iodine deficiency is making a quiet comeback. People are eating less iodized salt, either because they're cutting sodium or because they've switched to sea salt, Himalayan salt, or kosher salt, none of which contain meaningful amounts of iodine. Meanwhile, processed foods, which make up the bulk of sodium intake for most people, typically use non-iodized salt. The result is that many people, especially those who cook with trendy salts and eat clean, are inadvertently lowering their iodine intake to levels their grandparents would find alarming. Dairy, seafood, and eggs are good dietary sources, but if your salt shaker contains pink Himalayan salt, you might want to double check that you're getting iodine somewhere else. So here's the pattern. Most of these deficiencies aren't caused by poverty or famine. They're caused by modern life, processed food stripped of nutrients, depleted soil growing less nutritious crops, crops, indoor lifestyles that cut off your sunlight, trendy diets that eliminate entire food groups, salt swaps that accidentally removed iodine. We optimized our food for convenience, shelf life, and taste, and somewhere along the way, the actual nutrition got left behind. The fix isn't complicated, it's just not exciting. Eat more vegetables, especially leafy greens. Eat fatty fish a couple times a week. Get outside in the sunlight. Choose whole foods over processed ones. And if you're in a high-risk group for any of these deficiencies, get your blood tested and supplement intelligently. No miracle powder, no detox juice, no single superfood that solves everything. Just the boring, consistent basics that your body has needed since long before anyone tried to sell you a subscription for them. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe to see more.